get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Welcome to another edition of the Service Guys podcast. I'm producer Ruel Abadam, and over on the other mic is your favorite service professional and mine, Lonnie Beauchamp. What's up, Lonnie?
How you doing, Ruel?
I'm good. Today we have a special guest, but I think I want you to introduce our special guest since you are more familiar with him than I am. I'm going to get to know more about our special guest on this episode.
Great. Well, Kurt Lepird is joining us today, and I want to thank you for your time. I know you're a busy bar owner, and that's what we're here to talk about, just the service industry. We try to incorporate all kinds of facets of the service industry. I have a blue-collar background, obviously, so those are the guys I know, but I've known Kurt for, 2-3 years now? You even rode down on a motorcycle with your wife in the rain to come hang out with me and my wife.
Yeah, that was a couple of years ago. So, yeah, I'm coming on to the group 3 years in October.
Gotcha.
Cool.
So, Kurt, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, the name of your restaurant, and let's get started.
Okay, well, I'm Kurt Lepird. I reside in West Fargo, North Dakota. I own a bar and grill. It's the Silver Dollar Bar and Flying Pig Grill. Been there since 94.
So did you buy an existing restaurant, or is this your sole creation and brainchild?
No, it was I was living in Minneapolis. I was managing auto parts stores down there, and then this became available to purchase in 1994. So it was just a bar at the time I bought it.
And it was called the Silver Dollar then?
Silver Dollar, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then in 2002, just kind of saw how the industry is going. That food was more and more important as far as retaining customers and how the drinking was declining. I added food at that time, and that's when the Flying Pig Grill came into effect. It was the Silver Dollar for many, many, many years in town, and I thought it needed a secondary name in order for anyone to think about it as a place to eat food and not just drink.
Gotcha. So 2002 is when you added food, right?
Yep.
And how long was it in business prior to you buying it in 94?
Oh, I think it's, I can't find the exact date, but I think it was one of the first bars in our town. Our town was established in the 30s. I'm in its second location, and that was built in 65. So there was a bar prior to that in a different location, a smaller dirt floor type of establishment from what I was told.
Wow, dirt floor.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah. Well, did they tie up the horses out front and everything too? Or?
It's funny because the original, when I bought the bar, it had kind of a covered porch and with a railing that looks like a hitching post. And we've actually had pictures of people tying their horses up to that post when they've brought them into town before.
So you and I, we speak pretty often, Kurt, but tell your listeners, our listeners, when you added food to the business in 2002, what changed? Good, bad?
It took off okay. One of the reasons was I was working a lot of nights prior to that, and so I wanted to start a business within the business. And one reason too was my son was 10 years old at that time, so I didn't want to spend my nights working anymore. I wanted to be home around him a little more at that age, where I thought if a kid was going to go south or do something. I just wanted to be available more for him to do some things with him.
That's good.
So I put in the food, and I did the day shift for cooking, and I really haven't been back. I haven't really worked behind the bar much since then, mostly in the kitchen and the office.
So what time do you close? Bars typically close in my world. Drinks have to be off the table at 1:30 in Missouri. And
right.
So we close, 1:30, you're being shuttled out the door. What's that look like for you? Do you stay open till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, whatever?
We can stay open till 2 a.m. There's Sundays, Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays we do close earlier than that. We were keeping head counts of customers per hour, and it just didn't seem worth it to be open for one or two customers at the beginning of the week. Plus, it's harder to staff it when they're not making any money in tips.
Right.
So it just made sense not to stay open until 2 on those evenings.
What's tip minimum in your state?
I think we're at $4.75
for tip minimum.
Yeah, I
think we're still $3.13. I think, or maybe $4.25. I don't know.
It might be $4.95 or $4.75. I really don't know. I've always paid over tip minimum. So I don't really follow it closely.
Gotcha.
Know where it's at this moment.
So if my math is correct, you bought the silver dollar in 1994.
Yep.
You owned it 8 years before you added food? What were you seeing the trends being, to make you want to add the food?
Well, one thing I saw was kind of a stigma. It was all right for people to go to a restaurant type bar and sit in there and drink because people don't view it as a negative place to hang out. They're doing the exact same thing, but with the tag bar or grill or a restaurant, it just isn't bad for people to be in there.
Gotcha. And you may or may not know this, Kurt. I don't know. I actually have a degree in hotel restaurant management, so I have all the Serve Safe certification, all the bartender training courses. I mean, I've let it all lapse, but yeah, in college they talked about the dram shop laws and serving people to the point of intoxication, and
right.
and like it's technically illegal to serve somebody to the point of intoxication, but that's why they're kind of sitting there. And then, were you experiencing a lot of drunks, what was that like before you ordered food or had food? I mean, did you?
Well, yeah, initially, it was a smaller town. Then there's, we hadn't grown like we have in the last 15 years yet. So there was still a lot of heavy drinking. The average drink per person was a lot higher then. Drinking and driving laws were a little more lax. We still had smoking. So it was a different time. We've always been proactive as far as training. We used to hire our own person, the insurance company round us up to train the staff for serving and over serving, and we'd save on our insurance premium for doing that. Now our county has a requirement where you have to take servers training every 3 years. And that's really helped cut down with the places that went to check for minors as well as they should have and things on that nature. They do compliance checks probably monthly just to make sure everyone's doing it right.
Gotcha. And I guess just knowing what I know and the conversations that you and I have had with Mothers Against Drunk Driving and all this legislation, we all know, in the 90s and I don't know when we wised up, but we all know that drinking and driving is horrible. It's a horrible habit. It's dangerous for, even if nothing happens and, but you just hit a light pole, that's still bad. But have you had any kind of pushback or any kind of experience with drunk driving and Mothers Against Drunk Drivers and that sort of thing?
Not myself. I think they work closer with law enforcement. I was just talking to a deputy recently, and it sounds like Matt is pretty active within the law enforcement community, and they, I think, put some pressure on them to keep on that type of enforcement. Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, I remember growing up, it was nothing to see guys clear a case or two of beer in a course of a day. But then they'd, growing up, we just jump in Uncle Joe's truck and ran to the store to get more beer, and nobody thought a thing of it. And man, back then we were even sitting in the bed of the pickup, and we'd drive 10 miles down the road, and 8 of us in the bed of Uncle Joe's pickup, and he'd go get some more beer and whatever, and smoking, buy some more smokes and that sort of thing. Yeah, times have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. A lot. People are very aware of it. The message is out there, and it's a lot smaller percentage that dares to do that now. I even had told the previous police chief that if I could do anything, I'd have twice as many customers drinking half as much, and because it was a lot more consumption, 15, 20 years ago than there is now.
Right. But now my understanding, I forget the percentages, but when you have a tag as a bar, you can serve less than a certain percentage of food, but as a bar and grill, your gross revenue needs to be a certain percentage of alcohol to food, right?
Well, I am a 21 and older establishment. I haven't gone the route with allowing anyone under 21 in, so I don't have to meet any sort of requirements as far as food.
Oh, because of the age.
Yeah.
So my family, my wife and I are 43. I got a 14 and 12-year-old daughters. So we could not come in and try your smoked wings that I've heard my brother talk about and other people talk about. We couldn't come in and eat lunch with you.
No, we don't set it up like that. And it's kind of a touchy area to go into. We still sell about 60% alcohol versus 40 food. The people that merge that, I guess it's somewhat acceptable to be kid friendly, but you never want to, or kid acceptable, but not kid friendly. Because there's a balancing act. Some people might not want to go to an establishment and have alcohol if there's kids there. So it's one of those things you just look at year by year, and who knows, in the future we might have to go that route. But right now I'm not looking at it.
Oh, really? So you don't think that? Well, I don't know. I forget the percentages. I just know enough to kind of talk about it, and I hear it. But since I'm not in your world, it goes in one ear and out the other. But if you were to, open it up to the family, wouldn't that just drive more food revenue? And
well, the money's in the alcohol. I mean, that's where you really have the markup. So that's everything we focus on as far as food specials. We do it at a time where they're more than likely going to have a beverage of some sort with it.
Okay.
So I usually never run a liquor ad or a liquor special with the food special and vice versa.
I see.
So you can't take your daughters over there, Lonnie, to learn to play beer pong.
Right. I hope they never learn that game, to be honest with you.
I'm scanning through pictures online of the restaurant, and there's some pictures of a beer pong table.
Yeah, we do have beer pong, but it's free,
Nice.
And we do not put beer in there. We use water, so it is a fun game, and they do get used a bit. Yes.
Gotcha. So, and Ruel, have you ever watched the show Bar Rescue?
I think so.
With John Taffer?
I think so. I remember seeing something along those lines.
Well, I know Kurt well enough to know he's told me a year or two ago, and Kurt, I want you to speak to this a little bit, but he actually that John Taffer guy actually has a consulting business, and Kurt has utilized, if he doesn't still, he has utilized John Taffer's consulting service. Tell us a little bit about that. I think I love that show. I'm not in the bar business, but man, there's something about it. And shut this thing down. And, seeing that guy come in, and now he has a podcast, and I love John Taffer's podcast. It ranks up there in one of the top 3, that I'm going to listen to in the day. Did you know that, Kurt?
I've heard some advertising on it. I have not listened to it yet.
No, trust me, if you're a podcast fan, like I know you are, that's how we all met, is through a podcast. But I like that show. It's a good podcast. But yeah, tell us about.
I'd like to dial it back a little further. I indirectly met you because of John Taffer.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Well, I would go to the beverage conventions in Las Vegas. I haven't hired him to consult, but I go to he's in charge of the nightclub and bar restaurant magazine.
Right.
He puts on the beverage shows in Las Vegas. And I went to a few of them, and I really enjoy the classes and the seminars. But he has keynote speakers every year, and the one year the keynote speaker was Adam Carolla.
Okay.
And of course, I didn't know anything about podcasts, and I didn't know anything about where Adam went. I used to watch Loveline a little bit, and just thought
and I liked the Man Show in college. That was pretty good.
Right. So then I started listening to Adam Carolla podcast, and then the Dr. Drew and Adam, and that's of course when Vinny Tortorich, who we all follow, was on the show, and that's kind of what got me into the group and learning about you and meeting you and everything else that we've done together.
Everything else that we can't talk about, right? What happens in Kansas City stays in Kansas City.
Well, it was pretty uneventful, but it was fun meeting the people we talk to every day. That's for sure.
Right. Well, we did hold hands walking through the Crown Plaza in Kansas City.
We did. I'm not proud of it, but when you need photo ops, I guess you have to make the best of what you have.
Right. We had fun with it. So.
Right.
Was that two grown men holding hands walking down the street wearing matching khaki short pants or something?
Yeah. What happens in Kansas City stays in Kansas City.
Okay.
And actually, I was wearing the Dig the Pig T-shirt, and he happened to be wearing an orange shirt that wasn't mine, but it looked like we were wearing. Well, I was wearing his T-shirt, and it looked like he was wearing one of my T-shirts, and Kansas City was a blast, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and there was a story. Weren't you in a restaurant and someone saw the shirt?
Oh yeah. I was at Gates Barbecue. And down in the plaza area, and I was just standing there ordering my food. They walk, when you walk in, Ruel, if you need to come to Kansas City, but when you go to Gates, they're like, "Hi, man, help you." And I mean, you better kind of know what you're looking for, because you're just like, I don't know, number 4. But yeah, I'm just standing there minding my own business. The other people in our party, we had Cassandra Taylor, Rebecca Paulson, Denise Smith. We had I can't remember who all we had. Heidi Wagner, and and I'm just standing there. Kurt wasn't even with me, Ruel, and I'm just standing there waiting to pay my tab. And this couple says, "Do you own the Flying Pig?" And I'm like, "No, but a good friend of mine does." And they're like, "I love that bar," and I don't know where they were from. They weren't from Kansas City and they weren't from Fargo, but they're like, "Yeah, we have to go there every time we're in Fargo. That's our favorite place to go." I'm like, "Well, I'll be." In fact, didn't I call you, Kurt?
You had her call me with your phone.
Yeah, I called you from my phone and then put you on the phone with some total stranger customer lady. And I was like, "He'd love to hear this." So I'm like, "Here, Kurt, talk to this lady I don't know." And well,
I think you're smart enough to warn her that I might answer it inappropriately. And I think I did answer "Hello, Sex World" or something on that nature when she called. So that's fair warning.
But I forgot all about that, Kurt. Yeah, Ruel, I was literally wearing his shirt, and we hadn't met up for, we all hung out. There was like 6 or 8 of us that hung out after lunch and stuff on Sunday. People were flying back to getting to the airport and that sort of thing. Lo and behold, like, I'm just sitting there and they're like, "Oh, you've been to the Flying Pig?" I'm like, "No, but a good friend of mine owns it." And that was funny. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, if I remember right, they're from Montana, so they must have traveled east into North Dakota, then down to Kansas City or whenever they went that route. So,
well, I got the impression they've been to your place a couple times, like, because they said that's my favorite place to go. We have to go there every time we're there. And they were talking about your smoked wings. Trey told me about your smoked wings. I need some smoked wings, Kurt. I thought we were friends.
Well, I don't know how good they'll be by the time they get to you in the mail.
Yeah, that's true.
Huh.
That's true. So
I'm looking at a a menu online for the restaurant. Do you guys still serve up the Gomer burger?
Yeah, we do.
That sounds
What's
interesting.
a Gomer burger?
It's a hamburger, and we make a sauce that's pretty much half mayonnaise and half peanut butter, and we put it over the top.
Who doesn't like peanut butter, right?
Oh, yeah. We had a place like that in Sedalia, Missouri, that they sold a goober burger, and that's what it was, like a cheeseburger with peanut butter on it. And they sold a ton of those.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, people talk about. There's some things on the menu that they might not be the best seller, but when people go back, they talk about things, and it's kind of free advertising. They might laugh. I got a burger on there that's called the Poop on You, and actually we sell quite a few of those, but I mean, you can just see people giggling when they look at the menu. So
Ooh, that's
fun.
not
But, I had a guy come in to help me with the bar one time. He says, "Hey, look at these sales of the Gomer burgers. You should maybe drop it." I go, "It's just peanut butter and mayonnaise. It's not like you have to have any special inventory for it." And someone called me, and they're out in Bismarck, North Dakota, and the radio station out there was talking about the Gomer burger. So, I mean, it's one of those things that just gives you a little free advertising just by kind of having a different little twist.
I like it. The other thing I like is the Popper burger. I don't see the
burger.
the Popper burger.
That's good, and that's of course, without the bun, that's right up our alley. So
is that John Popper?
John Popper. No, it's cream cheese and jalapenos. Put that on top of the hamburger.
Right?
Gotcha.
God, I need that right now.
I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet today.
Look at that.
That makes three of us then.
We're all starving.
Well, I brought up John Taffer, and we didn't talk about it. I mean, do you want to talk about, that service? I was fascinated when you told me about it, what you were, and if you don't want to talk, that's cool.
Okay,
but
I'd go to the beverage conventions, I'd pick up things, but the one thing that that they talk about, and you'll see on the shows a lot, is having a company called Bev and Tell.
Right.
And they do liquor management. So they'll match your inventory with your sales and try to figure out where your liquor cost is and if you have any waste or financial loss. So I took on that service. I knew at one point in time, this was before my remodel, that I was going to run a remodel. And I just understood that at the end of the year, I didn't have the money like I used to. I used to accumulate. You'd have money at the end of the year. You'd be able to pay your $11,000 for your liquor liability and not have to finance it. And I just wanted to see, and this was after I went from the bar when I primary all bartending into the kitchen. So we had them come in for 3 different weeks without anyone knowing. They did the discovery period, and they would match inventory to the sales. And roughly, they don't go by cost, but retail-wise, we're losing about $2,800 a week in liquor and beer. Now we have them come in every 2 weeks, and we probably run in the high 90% as far as our Bev and Tell grade goes. So we went from a $2,800 loss every week to $200 to $300 every 2 weeks now.
And what would cause a $200 or $300 loss in a week or two?
Well, one thing we found out, our tap beer system was, our cooler was warm. Where I placed the kitchen used to be a little off sale liquor area where you could buy your beer and liquor to go. And we had the food in those glass doors like you have at a convenience store, and we'd be opening up the doors to grab hamburger patties and things of that nature.
Yeah.
That cooler got, a little warmer than we'd like it for pulling beer. That's where our kegs were. So I think about $300 a week was roughly tap beer loss, mostly due to foam. And then also just pouring the drink too strong and/or theft. I think it was more over pouring the drinks. We have a certain pour that we're supposed to achieve even when we're free pouring. And we were obviously going over that.
Do people free pour liquor anymore? I mean, whenever I see them, they always have that little jigger out, and they're putting in so much. I forgot how many. What is it? 1 ounce per drink or whatever. And
yeah, we go to ounce and a quarter ounce, 1.35, somewhere in that neighborhood is kind of what I poured when I pre-poured. What happened though after the Beventel discovery, the girls wanted the measured pour just because they didn't want to worry about it. Because what happened is at first we went from over pouring drinks to having this meeting and the discovery, finding out that we're all over pouring. They went from over pouring drinks to under pouring drinks, so the customer wasn't getting a consistent drink. So we went with the AccuPours, and that's what we still use today.
Is that little tip on the top of the bottle?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, bartenders should be trained where they would pour, the proper amount all the time, or you would average that amount. So people actually are getting what I always poured in the past, but mentally they think they're not getting as strong a drink. So there's pros and cons to it.
Well, and I know just from my restaurant experience, like the first drink, you might over pour just a little bit so they taste the beam or the jack or the whatever. And then after they've had one, maybe two stronger drinks, then you start scaling back. Is that still a trick of the trade, or you don't have to tell me if you don't,
Yeah, I mean, I think people generally still probably do that. And of course, if they seem like they've had enough, then you might dial it back a little bit as well, and then analyze whether they should have any more or not.
Gotcha. So, me being a service guy, Kurt is a service guy. We're totally different facets of the business. I'm in the water damage, mold remediation, dead animal cleanup, carpet cleaning business. And Kurt is just as equally in a service industry like I am. Totally night and day different businesses, but listeners might be wondering why I brought you on the show. Not just to have three friends talk and hang out and record it, but the premise of Service Guys podcast is everybody in the service business. I don't care if you're sucking mold or pouring drinks. We all have a hilarious story, a sad story, a funny story, a crazy story. We all have those. Do you have a story in mind for the listeners, Kurt?
Well, I think I've talked about this before too. I have a good friend that just passed, but basically when I bought the bar, he came with it.
Did you pay extra for him?
Pardon me?
Did you pay extra to have this guy show up?
And he had a key when I bought the place, and he had a key and still has a key at his desk, wherever they put it. And he wanted some of his ashes on the parking lot. And
oh wow,
he was a good friend. We saw him every morning for 23 years, except on Sundays. And the one thing was he is a recovering alcoholic. I never knew him to drink. He was dry that whole time, but he'd come in and play cards and help out whenever you needed him, and made my coffee for me in the morning, and it was just a good relationship. So
help out like well, you said making coffee, but would you put him to work making prep and cutting salads and stuff like that? Or
no, they just did it to have something to do. He was able to be retired longer than he worked in his life. So he had retirement. Yeah, he'd come out and he would help put out menus and things of that nature. But yeah, he had friends that would come in, before we were open, and they'd play pinochle and different card games, cribbage. And it was just good company to have when you're getting the bar ready to go for the day.
Sure. So you bought the bar in 1994, and he was dry then?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I never knew him prior to that. And yeah, he was sober that whole time.
Wow. But he still hung out. I know that I'm sorry, I'm stepping on your story here, but I mean, how does a recovering alcoholic sit in a bar and not want to imbibe on something?
He's a stubborn German.
Stubborn German.
Stubborn German. He was a guy that he put his mind to something and he did it. He actually was one of those. I used to tell him the reason he lived so long is he had actually listened to his doctors, unlike his dead friends. So I mean, he really did take care of himself, and then he enjoyed that.
Well, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and tell us about this one. This is not a funny story. It's more of an emotional story. It sounds like. Right.
My friend. Yeah, he passed away. He passed away this year. So my wife, would go in there and clean. She's been helping clean. 10 years or so. So they became really good friends as well. So, it was hard on her at his passing as well. But, he'll always live on. He actually bartended at the original Silver Dollar.
In the 30s?
I think he was back there in the 50s when he worked there. But we were a meat packing town, a real rough blue collar town, and basically the bartenders were hired because they're big, and there's 3 of them, and the owner purchased this bar and didn't realize that the police were threatening to take the license away because there's so many fights in there. So they were instructed by that owner, if anyone was to start any problems, that each of them go to a door and lock the door and take care of the problem internally.
Oh, wow. Back in the 50s.
The old owner actually used to pay for their shirts if they got their shirts torn up. And Jimmy's son, Doug, would have to bring up new shirts to him on occasion because of the problems they had within that old bar.
So you inherited this patron in 1994, and this is right. 2018. And I remember seeing your very touching posts, I want to say 2 months ago. Am I right?
Yeah, it's probably right around there.
Yeah. So you inherited this guy. He just comes with the business. He comes and hangs out in the mornings. What time would he leave?
He would leave before lunch.
Before lunch?
Yeah, before lunch. He didn't want to be there in the way when the lunch crowd came in. So yeah, they'd probably show up. He'd be the first one in the morning. Probably show up at 7 o'clock, and he'd be there when we got there and coffee.
What time do you all normally get there?
8 o'clock usually, most of the stuff.
8 o'clock. So he's there an hour early, drinking coffee, making coffee, drinking coffee, and playing pinochle or hearts or canastus or whatever.
Yep.
And then he left about noon every day.
Yeah, probably 11 o'clock, 11:30.
Huh. So he probably had his own special spot in the restaurant or bar.
Yeah. There's actually we had to relocate it after remodeling, but we have an actual bar that has silver dollars inlaid in it. And
oh, really?
Him and his wife that passed away are in that bar.
What do you mean they're in that bar?
They have the silver dollars and they have their name stamped in near the silver dollars.
Gotcha.
So in the 70s, people that were regular customers all were able to buy a spot in that bar and put their silver dollars in and have their name etched in there.
Cool. That's cool.
Wow, that is really cool. So you don't have a funny or crazy story. You just got an emotional story where, I mean, after 20 some years, well, whatever the math is. I mean, what's 2018 minus 1994? 26 years.
23, is it?
23 years. So in all of that time, you got to know him and his family, and his wife had already passed before you purchased the place.
Yeah, I think that's when he really started to drink hard, and then that's when he decided to go to the Elkie ward, as he called it. And,
Elkie ward.
The Elkie ward, and but he was just strong-willed. He was able to quit, never did it again. I mean, he didn't relapse from what he's told me. He just dove in there and took care of it. So it does take a lot of willpower.
And guys like him, I mean, I worked from 1991 through 1998. So only 7 years is my experience in the restaurant business. But everywhere we went, everywhere I worked, I should say, we had that regular customer. And I think back to some of the people, I can still picture a customer or two. And as soon as we saw them pull on the lot, we would start making their special. One guy liked a cheeseburger with 2 bottom buns. He didn't like the sesame seed buns, and we just called it the Myron burger. And I bet, after 23 years, I'm sure you got a lot of stories like that. And, you get to know the family and you knew what he liked. I mean, did he eat with you too?
He did. Actually, he didn't eat up there much. So he would order a sandwich for him and daughter to go on occasion. But no, he didn't really eat up there very often. But funny how you mentioned about, you get to know customers and what they drink, but sometimes you don't know their name.
Right,
so,
right.
A lot of times when we're talking to each other at work and trying to describe someone, it's like, well, Windsor Water guy or whatever it is, and that's.
Yeah, you name them by what they order. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's, it happens quite often.
Now, did you go to the funeral?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And my wife got up and spoke and.
Oh, wow.
Did a nice job. So.
Yeah. I like Shauna. I met her one time for a few hours and, yeah. She seems like a really good gal, but yeah, I saw your post and her post, and I knew that was a sentimental, touchy, situation for you. So
right. Yeah, and there's of course over 23 years, there's a lot of funny stories that to tell, but you can't remember them all. And we actually have a book. It's over at one of my coworkers' house. When we did the remodel, I put her in charge of the archives, the pictures, and the journal we used to keep from different things that happened over the night. And we always thought it'd be fun to write a book someday about different situations. There was one situation where one of the older guys, his nickname was Spider, and he got mad at someone. He's going to fight someone, and he asked the bartender if they could hold his teeth for him.
Hold my teeth. Okay.
Hold my teeth. So that's one of the iconic silver dollar stories.
Oh God! Did Spider hand?
I remember
he handed his teeth with one of his 8 arms.
Yeah, but we had another one where there's some low income housing a few blocks down the road. So there's people in different stages, whether they have, learning disabilities or whatever the case may be. But I would see this gal down on the park bench with a Diet Pepsi next to her a lot. And it looked like she was having conversations with it.
Okay.
One day she came into the bar and she ordered a beer and a Diet Pepsi for her friend. Well, she proceeded to talk to her Diet Pepsi. There was no friend. So I'm down on the other end of the bar, filling in the customer sitting down there, what's happening on her end of the bar. So as soon as she got up and left, I went and grabbed the blank napkin from her end of the bar and brought it over to the guys I was telling the story about. I said, her friend left you her phone number.
And let me guess, it was empty too, wasn't it?
That had nothing on it as well. Yep.
Yeah, and you didn't like my my picture I sent you the other day. Back in the day before cell phones, what was it? It was $1.
Oh, right.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah, something about the charge for telling lies when someone.
Yeah,
calls.
Your wife calls, Kurt, it's your wife, and
right. Yeah, I'm so grateful for cell phones now, because before cell phones, when people call, your customers be sitting at the bar. If that's my wife, tell her I'm not here, and it's like I'm not lying for people. So,
right.
There is one time where I turned my back to that customer, and I said to his wife, "I don't see him right now." So in a way, I didn't lie, but
technically, you didn't lie.
technically I didn't lie, but usually I would hand them the phone and say, "You tell her you're not here."
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, Kurt. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Oh, I said I didn't care to do that. So I'm glad we do have cell phones now.
Right, and they can track each other nowadays too. Where you at? Ping my phone. What is that? What is that app called? Find my phone. Where's my husband now?
Exactly.
So, Kurt, we're kind of getting close to the end. I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know from experience that running a restaurant, I've never ran a bar, but I have ran restaurants. I was general manager of a few things here and there. But I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate this. I hope you hope you enjoyed your time here, but I'm going to leave you with the last word. What would you like to tell your listeners, your audience, and my audience?
Well, I think we're both doing the same things. We're running business, we're providing services, and we're trying to give our customer the best service for what they're paying for, and that's we all strive for that when we have a business.
Gotcha. Well, with that, I would like to thank my co-host and IT guy, my NSNG friend, and my producer, Ruel Abadam, for this.
Hey, we got to be sure to plug in the restaurant's website. Isn't it digthepig.com?
Digthepig.com.
Yep. I love it.
Gotcha. Well, with that, I would like to thank everybody for their time. This podcast has been brought to you first and foremost by restore-it-restoration.com. I do want to let Jackie Jones know that I will answer her question eventually, maybe a one-on-one recording with Ruel and I, if I can't figure out my little handheld thing. But most importantly, I want to thank Kurt Lepird from digthepig.com, Silver Dollar, and Dig. What's the rest of your business?
The Flying Pig. The Flying Pig.
Yep. Gotcha. With that, I want everybody to get their life back to normal, and thanks for tuning in. Oh, by the way, we're on a streak. I just got to make a little rib here. We're on a streak of people that talk funny. The last three guests talk funny. So Ruel and I would appreciate a 5-star review. I don't care what you say. You can just tell us which one of the last 3 podcast guests we've had, which one talks the funniest. Ruel likes to have his what do you say? Kick me in the balls on your podcast, Ruel.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you say. Just you can even say I'm reading and following directions. I don't care, but leave a 5-star review. If you're in the West Fargo area, from what I hear from a total stranger and another barbecue joint in Kansas City, Missouri, I hear that Dig the Pig, Silver Dollar and Flying Pig is the place to go. And I will look you up one of these days, Kurt. So with that, I want to thank everybody.
Thank you for having me. It was fun.
Glad to meet you. And Lonnie, before we end, speaking of folks that talk funny and speaking of ratings and reviews, I want to read a quick review from iTunes. Remember Mark Thompson from a couple of episodes back?
Sure. I don't know if Kurt talks more funny or Mark talks more funny, but
well, Mark gave us 5 stars, and it says "What these guys said!" ! So regarding the podcast, his review was, "This is great. So often you are called into a situation where either they have tried to do it themselves and you are now here to fix a bodged job, or worse. Then they tell you how to do it. And LOL, like with the mechanic, my hourly rate goes up if you assist. Good fun. Info, guys. Look forward to hearing more." I don't know what that all means. I just see 5 lovely stars, and I'm happy, and we're thankful for Mark and his rating and review.
I know exactly what Mark means. If somebody's going to tell me how to do my water damage business, my bill automatically goes up. I got licenses, certifications, training, years of experience, and you as a homeowner, you have a box fan and a residential dehumidifier. So I automatically, if you're going to tell me how to do my job, I automatically just want to like charge you 5 times the rate. So I know what Mark Thompson's saying. Thank you very much, Mark, for the kind words and the 5-star review.
And lastly, if you found value in the Service Guys podcast, share it with people you know. We would love it. If you would also follow us on social, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as Service Guys Pod, all one word. And back to you, Lonnie.
Well, I just want to say that's a wrap. This is Lonnie Beauchamp with Restore It Restoration in Jeff City, Missouri. Our esteemed guest is Kurt Lepird with Silver Dollar and the Flying Pig in West Fargo, North Dakota, and Ruel Abadam in San Francisco area. With that, thank you.
They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Looks like I'm the first one here.
No, you're not. This is cool.
How you doing? How you doing, Ruel?
I'm good. How about you, Lonnie?
Good. Are we recording yet?
We are. It's set up to, it's scheduled, and it's set up to record at the start. So it's kind of neat to get the alert for the meeting. All I did is tap to join it, and it started the recording.
Kurt Lepard's kind of old and not very technologically savvy. We might need to like ping him and say, hit the button.
I hope he's just dialing in. That seems to be the easiest way to do it.
I just hit the button and then the phone just does it, and then I hit pound.
I don't know if you follow any of the podcasting and training, the podcasters and training group at all, but I shared some information about how when you dial in, like how you did on your phone.
Yeah.
And we're in this recorded meeting, you could do an ad call on your iPhone to somewhere else and basically do it like a 3-way situation. And they'll actually be patched in and also be recorded. Isn't that cool?
Huh. Yeah, I saw a little bit, but I didn't try that. Should I think I should text that old dude and say, what's up?
You could try. What's up?
I'm just going to hit that one group text that you and I had with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever spoke to Kurt Lepird?
Never. I don't think so.
You just wait. He has the funniest accent ever. I know we're on a roll of all these people with funny accents, but Kurt blows them all away.
Okay.
And you can leave this in the recording. I don't care if he hears me. I tell him that every time we talk. I'm like, man, you just talk so funny.
Where's he coming from again? Something the pig?
Fargo, North Dakota is where he lives, or West Fargo or somewhere like that. Yeah, he owns a restaurant called Silver Dollar, and I don't know what it's called. We'll let him tell us, but his email is Dig the Pig. He smokes a lot of pork and ribs and wings, and he smokes a lot of meat.
There you go. Silver Dollar, Flying Pig Bar and Grill, West Fargo, North Dakota. Very cool.
Yeah.
So what's he doing now? He's in. Is he in? Hit a button.
I don't know. Hit the button, dude. Come on, Kurt. You got to bear with him. He's old.
That's cool. I'm digging this style of podcasting because I'm just talking on the phone just like you are. I'm getting a coffee while we're doing this.
Hey, while we're waiting on Kurt to figure out how to do this thing, so a good listener, good friend of the show, her and I go way back. We met back in September. But Jackie Jones messaged me the other day with a great idea, and I just actually pulled out my Zoom H4n thingy. I'm going to figure out this SD card and try to figure out how to record some thoughts that she had and answer some of her questions. So she she pinged me the other day and, gave me something to think about. Now I got to figure out how to record on this handheld mic thing of mine and then get it emailed off or whatever. So.
Okay. Yeah. We can talk about it offline too. The details on which one do there. But what's up, Jackie Jones?
Yeah. Kurt's texting me now. Or or do you think I should, just ring him?
You could just, if you're familiar with doing the whole three-way call-up feature on your iPhone, you could just ring him and he'll be on. Merge his call. So
I'm going to add a call.
Yeah, and then put me on hold.
And Kurt, are you still with me?
I'm still with you, but at some point, I think you might put me on hold.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit his number now. Hold on 1 second.
Then you have to tap merge call once it's dialing. We are trying to get Kurt Lepird on from Silver Dollar Flying Pig Bar and Grill, West Fargo, North Dakota. Checking out his website right now. It's a nice website.
Ruel?
Yeah, Lonnie.
All right. Kurt, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Ruel, are you recording Kurt?
Yeah, it should be recording. And last time I tested this damn thing.
Well, we just did the three-way merge call thing. And
yeah.
Ruel, can you see that there's three of us on this thing to record, or?
No, it shows two because he's basically, he lives in your call. So if you ever hang up on Kurt, then he's not going to be on the call.
Gotcha. So I have the power. Okay, cool.
You have the power.
I got that. Yeah. Yeah. And if it don't work, I guess we can try this again later.